information, how often do you truly challenge your mind? Today we dive into a labyrinth of puzzles and riddles, designed not just to test your thinking, but to expand it. Are you ready to explore the uncharted territories of your brain? Let's awaken the genius within. Now let's turn the gears of our minds. Each question ahead is a key, unlocking doors to new ways of thinking. Ready to light up those brain cells? Here's your first challenge. As we approach the finale of our mental expedition, the challenges intensify. The last 10 questions are the pinnacle of brain power, puzzles designed to stretch the limits of your thinking. Stay with us to the end. This is where true mental agility is put to the test. Question 1. You're trying to remember where you left your keys in your house. What's your strategy to recall their location? Think about it. Hint. Retrace your steps mentally from when you last remember having them. You're doing great. Let's solve this together. Solution. The best approach is to mentally walk through your last actions and the places you visited after you last used your keys. This method activates your episodic memory. Question 2. You have a long grocery list to remember. How would you ensure you remember all items without writing them down? Think about it. Hint. Group items by categories. Keep it up. Let's find the answer. Solution. Categorize items in your mind by their type, like dairy, vegetables, snacks. This technique, known as chunking, helps improve memory retention. Question 3. You need to wake up early for a meeting but don't have an alarm clock. How would you ensure you wake up on time? Think about it. Hint. Your body has an internal clock you can set. You're on the right track. Let's explore the solution. Solution. Tell yourself the time you need to wake up before going to bed. This self-suggestion often works surprisingly well thanks to your body's internal clock. Question 4. Imagine you're learning a new language. What technique would you use to memorize new vocabulary effectively? Think about it. Hint. Connect new words with ones you already know. Great effort. Let's look at the solution. Solution. Create associations between new words and ones you already know. This technique, known as mnemonic devices, can significantly aid in language learning. Question 5. You're planning a small party and need to calculate the budget in your head. What mental strategy would you use? Think about it. Hint. Break down the costs into categories. You're doing wonderfully. Let's work it out. Solution. Categorize expenses into groups like food, decorations, and entertainment. Estimating smaller sums and then adding them up is easier than tackling the whole at once. Question 6. You're trying to focus on a task but keep getting distracted. How would you improve your concentration? Think about it. Hint. Your environment plays a key role. Almost there. Let's find out. Solution. Create a distraction-free environment. Clear your workspace, use noise-canceling headphones, or find a quiet place. Question 7. You have to remember an important date without using a digital reminder. What memory technique would you use? Think about it. Hint. Visualize the date in a unique way. You're on the right path. Let's reveal the solution. Solution. Create a vivid mental image that links the date to something memorable. For instance, imagine a giant calendar with the date marked in bright colors. Question 8. Imagine you're trying to solve a complex problem at work. What strategy would you employ to think creatively? Think about it. Hint. Changing your routine can spark creativity. You're making great progress. Let's see the answer. Solution. Take a break and change your environment. A short walk or a different setting can provide new perspectives and creative ideas. Question 9. You need to make a difficult decision and weigh multiple factors. What method would you use to decide? Think about it. Hint. Write down the pros and cons. You're doing fantastic. Let's check the solution. Solution. Create a pros and cons list for each option. Visualizing the advantages and disadvantages can provide clarity for complex decisions. Question 10. You want to improve your memory for an upcoming test. What study technique would you use? Think about it. Hint. Repetition is key, but so is the method of study. Solution. Use active recall and spaced repetition techniques. Instead of just rereading the material, test yourself on it and space out your study sessions. Question 11. Imagine you're given a sequence of numbers where each number is progressively larger than the last. How would you predict the next number in the sequence? Think about it. Hint: look for a pattern in the way numbers are increasing. You're doing wonderfully. Let's discover the pattern. Solution: identify the rule governing the sequence, like each number being double the previous one or increasing by a consistent amount. This is a common pattern recognition task in sequences. Question 12. You are given a complex problem at work that seems unsolvable. How would you approach it to find a creative solution? Think about it. Hint: break down the problem into smaller, more manageable parts. Keep pushing, let's tackle this problem. Solution: use the divide and conquer method. Breaking down a complex problem into smaller parts makes it easier to manage and solve each section, leading to a solution for the whole. Question 13. You're playing a strategy game where you must anticipate your opponent's moves. How would you predict their strategy? Think about it. Hint: think about your opponent's goals and previous moves. You're on the right track. Let's strategize. Solution: consider your opponent's objectives and past actions. Predicting their moves involves understanding their strategy and thinking several steps ahead. Question 14. You have to memorize a long poem in a short time. What technique would you use to enhance your memory retention? Think about it. Hint: create a story or image for each line or stanza. You're doing great. Let's figure this out. Solution: use the method of loci or create a vivid story linking the words. This technique helps by creating memorable associations. Question 15. You need to calculate the total cost of several items in your head quickly. How would you do it without a calculator? Think about it. Hint: round the numbers to make mental calculation easier. You've got this, let's crunch those numbers. Solution: round each item's cost to the nearest easy-to-add number, then add those and adjust for the rounding at the end. This simplifies mental arithmetic. Question 16. You're learning a new musical instrument. How would you efficiently memorize the notes and chords? Think about it. Hint: associate each note or chord with a physical action or sound. Keep the rhythm. Let's find out. Solution: use muscle memory and auditory associations. Repeated practice while consciously recognizing each note or chord helps in memorizing them. Question 17. Imagine you're navigating a new city without a map. How would you remember the routes you've taken and landmarks you've seen? Think about it. Pause for 5 seconds. Hint: create a mental map using landmarks. You're navigating well, let's plot this out. Solution: use notable landmarks as anchors in your memory. Mentally map out the city based on these reference points to remember routes. Question 18. You're trying to learn a new complex skill in a short amount of time. What learning strategy would you use? Think about it. Hint: focus on understanding the fundamental principles first. You're almost there. Let's learn this together. Solution: apply the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule. Focus on learning the 20% of the skill that will give you 80% of the results. Understanding core principles is key. Question 19. You're given a riddle where the solution is not immediately obvious. How would you approach solving it? Think about it. Hint: think outside the box and challenge your assumptions. You're so close. Let's unravel this riddle. Solution: approach the riddle from different angles and question your initial assumptions. Riddles often require lateral thinking and a shift in perspective. Question 20. You have multiple tasks to complete in a limited time. How would you prioritize and manage your time efficiently? Think about it. Hint: consider the urgency and importance of each task. You're managing well. Let's sort this out. Solution: use the Eisenhower box method. Divide tasks into 4 categories: urgent and important, important but not urgent, urgent but not important, and neither urgent nor important. Tackle them in that order. Here's a fascinating brain fact for you. The human brain comprises about 2% of your total body weight, but uses approximately 20% of your body's energy. This high energy consumption is why feeding your brain with the right nutrients is. Question 21. Imagine a scenario where you must use a series of logic gates like and or not to solve a problem. How would you approach this? Think about it. Hint: break down the problem into smaller logical statements. You're doing brilliantly. Let's crack this code. Solution: the best approach is to understand each gate's function and apply them step by step to your problem. This is a fundamental method in computational thinking. Question 22. You're given a puzzle where you have to arrange numbers in a specific pattern with only one empty spot to move them. What's your strategy to solve it? Think about it. Hint. Start by getting the first row or column in the correct order. Keep going. Let's solve this puzzle. Solution. Focus on one row or column at a time, using the empty spot strategically. Solving these puzzles often requires thinking several moves ahead. Question 23. You need to deduce the rule governing a sequence of shapes and colors. How would you determine the underlying pattern? Think about it. Hint. Look for repeating or alternating sequences in shapes and colors. You're on a great path. Let's decode this pattern. Solution. Systematically change one variable at a time to see how the sequence evolves. This method helps isolate the rule governing the pattern. Question 24. Imagine you must estimate the number of objects in a large group quickly. What technique would you use? Think about it. Hint. Use grouping and multiplication. You're doing an excellent job. Let's figure this out. Solution. Group the objects into smaller, countable units, then multiply. This estimation technique is often used in fields like ecology and crowd management. Question 25. You have a complex, multi-layered problem. How would you use systems thinking to approach this issue? Think about it. Hint. Consider how different parts of the problem are interconnected. You're making great progress. Let's piece this together. Solution. Map out the different elements and their relationships. Understanding how each part influences the others helps in finding a holistic solution. Question 26. You're given an abstract logical problem with no obvious starting point. How would you begin to untangle it? Think about it. Identify any known elements and their relationships. You're doing fantastically. Let's dive in. Solution. Start by noting down what you know and the connections between these elements. This approach can provide clues for where to begin solving the problem. Question 27. Imagine you must predict a trend based on a complex set of data. What analytical approach would you take? Think about it. Hint. Look for patterns and correlations in the data. You're on the right track. Let's analyze this. Solution. Conduct a thorough data analysis looking for trends, outliers, and correlations. Using statistical methods can also help in making accurate predictions. Question 28. You need to remember a complex sequence of steps in a process. How would you effectively memorize this sequence? Think about it. Hint. Create a detailed mental map of each step. You're doing great. Let's sequence it together. Solution. Use a mnemonic device or associate each step with a vivid image or story. This technique aids in memorizing complex sequences. Question 29. You are trying to solve a problem but keep hitting a mental block. What technique would you use to overcome this and generate new ideas? Think about it. Hint. Change your environment or approach the problem from a new angle. Keep pushing through. Let's find a breakthrough. Solution. Take a break or engage in a different activity. Sometimes stepping away from the problem momentarily can lead to innovative solutions upon return. Question 30. You're challenged to create a new concept based on combining unrelated ideas. How would you go about this creative task? Think about it. Hint. Think of how different elements can complement or contrast each other. You have a creative mind. Let's merge these ideas. Solution. Use divergent thinking to explore various possibilities. Look for connections between the ideas, no matter how unrelated they seem, to create something novel. Did you know that learning a new language or playing a musical instrument can actually change the structure of your brain? These activities increase the density of the gray matter in the brain, which is involved in muscle control and sensory perception, such as seeing and hearing. Fantastic work boosting your brain today. Now let's talk about fueling your brain with the right foods. Incorporate omega-3 rich foods like fish, walnuts, and flax seeds into your diet. Don't forget blueberries, known as brainberries, and plenty of green leafy vegetables. Stay hydrated and consider dark chocolate in moderation for a quick brain boost. Keep challenging your brain every day, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more brain-boosting tips. See you in the next video.